Hello, friends. Welcome to A Little Room for Healing, where we aim to create a little more room in the world for authentic connection, insightful healing, and a deeper understanding of our hearts, ourselves, and each other through honest conversation. My name is Joel. I'm a Reiki and 13th Octave Laho Chi practitioner, a facilitator for deep healing, and your host. My guest today is Zhang. Sherry is a lifelong spiritual seeker and deep diver who previously worked in tech and is now on a sabbatical that includes explorations into her deepest longings and impulses, healing trauma through somatics, and learning and practicing the wisdom of Eastern spiritual traditions. She's currently co-organizing an online conference occurring in June called Reimagining the Future of Work, which invites participants to co-create the future of work through contemplative emergent group dialogue. You can find her on Insta at YokoCoco22. On this episode, we journey through the challenges of taking up space and allowing the spotlight to be on her. We talk about her recent experiences with kanna and iboga, and she tells me about her favorite tantric practices. As usual, we start with check-ins so we can be more attuned with each other. Come on in. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Joel.
Thanks for having me in your home in Silver Lake, out here in California. It's great to see you, too. I haven't seen you in a while. Last time I saw you was like 6 months ago, a little over 6 months ago.
Yeah.
In person, at least.
Yeah.
I saw you online. Also, I want to mention that we are near a freeway, right?
Yeah.
So there may be some sounds of freewayness behind us, and that's okay. It's okay. Let's start with check-ins, and I'll go first, and then I'll pass it over to you. Okay. How am I feeling right now? I am feeling a little restless. There's some sort of, what is this? Weightlessness is the word that's coming out, but I don't know if that means I'm not grounded. Am I grounded? Am I not grounded? Partially grounded. Interesting. And I am really embracing the unknown about what's going to come up between us. And that's cool. That's cool. It's nice to say that. Saying that actually felt good. That's me right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
How about you?
I was wondering if the weightlessness and partial groundedness was like you're also picking up on what's going on over here, because I'm a little bit like airy, like up here, and also I was noticing like the weight in my butt and both, and I don't know what's gonna happen either. And I think that's a little bit of what's going on up here is like looking like open, yeah.
Are you done with your check-in?
Yeah.
I want to talk about first, you reached out to me and wanted to be, and you were curious if you could be on the podcast when I was out here.
Yeah.
And are you open to talking about what drew you to wanting to be on the podcast?
Yeah. Now it's arising more than before. It's like there's something like needing more attention or something on me, like making it about me. It's like unnatural for me to make things about me unless I'm alone, and even when I'm alone, I can't always make it about me. And so, does that make sense? Like,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm with other people, I'm like very aware of them, very just like have my antennae out all the time. Um, and so, yeah, and I guess I have trouble sometimes like sharing unless I get invitations. So like
Hmm.
questions. So yeah, I really enjoy being asked questions and being like having someone be curious about me, because I do that for other people really well and like really genuinely, and like I don't get that in return enough. Yeah.
That's I find it really great then that you reached out and you told me this is why, and I thought that was really, it was a really, when I asked you what drew you to want to be on the podcast, you gave me this answer in a different way but written form,
Mm, mm,
and I really sat with it and I was like, that's a really beautiful answer, and
mm.
I really like that for you to, in this way, you're even saying like publicly asking for, like, publicly receiving attention,
Yeah.
not necessarily asking for it, but like receiving attention, like
Yeah.
and how it could be something really good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are now.
Yeah.
So I thought, nice. She made a little face at the camera if you're not watching. Um, what does it, when you're feeling that, when you're in a place and you're feeling like you're more attentive to other people, then you're getting attention, maybe even from yourself and from other people.
Mm-hmm.
What does that feel like?
It feels pretty ungrounding. I feel a little bit lost and confused a lot of the time. It's kind of like I'm putting my antenna out to be like, what is needed from me? And then I try to meet those needs.
Mm. What is needed from you from other people?
Yeah, or from, yeah, something like that. Oh, I know something we can talk about, which is like, I quit my job. Um, well, I did, my contract of my job ended in October, and then I haven't been working since then, and like, the reasons behind that, and all of that. Kind of, kind of about like looking for what is here when I'm not trying to meet like specific concrete like needs that are set by other people, but like determined by other people, but that I don't feel are necessarily my deepest source of meaning and purpose. Does that make sense?
Uh, you you're talking about you quitting your job, and the job is an example of putting other people's needs first that aren't for your interest, that aren't like actually helping you and
Yeah.
what's best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. But unless I like actually set aside intentional space, like not having the job, then I just I just do things for other. I just do things because I'm supposed to, or it makes sense to, or I can perform things. I can perform well, but it's like soul crushing at the same time. And I always had that really difficult relationship with work, where it was like, why are we doing this? Like, and it didn't feel satisfying or meaningful or like fulfilling. And it felt like everyone was pretending. And I didn't know why we were doing it. And so, yeah. The last, like, 6 months since then, I've just been like, what is my own, like, kind of ground and routine that I want to have for my life, and what gives me satisfaction without putting too much structure, or like what's the right amount of structure. And yeah.
So in leaving your job, you were kind of taking back, in a way, taking back your what's best for you, like your life, and what's best for you. And in this period of time, what I'm hearing is you've been working on grounding into yourself and making yourself more of the focus for you. And this is something that bleeds into everything, the social,
Right.
work,
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah.
I'm still interested in what it feels like. Like, what's the feeling that happens in you when you are feeling like when your focus is going to other people, and
I don't really feel myself. Yeah, and then there's like a I don't feel myself, and then a lot of times like my inner child or something will be like feeling neglected at some point and be like, ah, but not really mad at me, just like it wants to express and doesn't know how, or doesn't have the space to, or needs an invitation or something. It just hasn't figured out how to express. I mean, this is actually, it is based in like real trauma conditions where like I was neglected and like alone a lot, and so there was no place to like express myself or put myself out, and so it's like I didn't really learn it very well. Yeah.
What does it want to express? Or what does she want to express?
I usually call it an it.
Oh, okay, great. We'll stay with it.
It wants to express. Maybe it's not sure. It kind of just is. Okay, if I like go in a little deeper, it's kind of a very pure like excitement about life, and it wants everyone to join in. Like it wants everyone to be like, let's play together or something. Or like, let's go have an adventure or something like that. So it's not necessarily like I want attention, like it's about me, but it's like I want to like I want to be met, I guess, maybe just met in the aliveness.
The aliveness of play and adventure, or just being alive?
Yeah.
Met in being alive.
That's like the deepest thing. I guess it's like a little hard to talk about. It's a little abstract sounding, but it's like the deepest. Yeah.
When it's not met in the aliveness of being alive.
Yeah.
What is the feeling?
It's kind of like, it's like a slumpy, defeated feeling. It's a little bit like stuck. It feels stuck, like kind of trapped. Like, oh, what do I do with this aliveness? And so like what I do is I either try to like I try to practice like equanimity and be peaceful and just like find the delight in like the mundane everyday like beauty, which is true. Or I'm a little more graspy and I look for things that are more exciting. And that can work, and then it kind of is like one of the three things. It's like look for exciting thing, practice equanimity, be with what's here, like the mundanity of the present. That's also beautiful, or be a little sad. Yeah.
What would it feel like in your system to be big and take up space?
It would be, I think it would be kind of dissociating. I think right now I feel a little dissociative.
Like, because this to you right now is taking up.
Yeah.
It's you being big and taking up space.
Yeah.
This is like your edge.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a little bit past it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we can be in that little edge spot.
What do you feel, or what can you tell in relationship to me of like how I'm being?
I feel like you're being very clear, and it seems like you have an understanding, at least logical understanding of what happens with you and what is going on with you. And I'm noticing, I'm really picking up on the timidness and there's sadness and there's fear because of maybe the neglect that you received as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are being offered a space to talk more about yourself, it's shaky.
Uh-huh.
But I don't feel like you hold it. You're so used to holding that and hiding that shakiness, I think, that it's not really visible.
Yeah. Do you have more questions?
Yeah, what's going on right now?
I was trying to talk about it positively a bit, or think about it positively, which is that I've always had a really rich imagination, and I think that was a coping mechanism from the neglect and aloneness and being trapped. Like that's where like a lot of the energy went, was like my head. And so I think that I'm just like relating that to like the energy being in my head right now, or like above my head right now, of like that's my kind of coping. But yeah, I just went to this tantra retreat, and we talked about 3 energy centers being like 3 bindus, which are like in the head, the heart, and like the pelvic floor. And my energy center at the head is really developed. It's like very open. And when we were meditating with that, like it was very easy. I just like kind of like felt like I nudged it a bit, and it just went like really open. And the other two centers are less developed, and so it's like, oh, it's helpful to know like what to work on, and maybe like redistribute some of the energy to other parts of my body, because it's like really concentrated up here. And it's also why it's hard for me to talk about like myself, because my locus of self is sort of more upper, and so it's a little more, it includes everything instead of including like the form that is me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I'm getting from it is you're not in your body.
But I'm not, but I'm also, I really love somatic stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually, this in this time I've been not working and exploring, two of the main things I've been doing are I've been taking craniosacral therapy classes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like learning it. You didn't have to like commit to a program or anything to take some classes. So I've taken 3 classes, and I just really love being with people in that like subtle physical way. And it feels really natural to me, much more natural than talking. Like talking takes me out of my body. And the second thing is contact improv. Mm-hmm. Very embodied dance. And like very flowy, and there's a lot of surrender, but very embodied. So I really care about being embodied, and when I feel embodied, I feel more like myself. And when I'm in nature, I feel more like myself. I'm like, oh yeah, like I like feel more of the sense of like I am like this. When I'm in a city, I feel more lost. Like, where am I? Yeah.
So, when you're doing something you enjoy that has to do with your body, you are in your body. When you're doing something that is maybe a little more uncomfortable, it's harder to be in your body. Oh. Would that sound accurate?
Yeah, probably. I guess. Right. I guess the problem is, okay, I know, like when I'm doing cranial, it's like, still, I feel connected, I feel present, I feel good, but it's still like, yeah, there is a little bit that's still like, I want to participate in a way where I want to be met and seen, versus like I'm providing something for someone else. Or if I'm in nature, I do feel met by nature, but that's not humans. Like I still have to relate to humans.
Yeah, that makes sense. Nature isn't the one that neglected you.
Yeah. So right. So when you say like, you're not in your body, I was like kind of like no, but I feel really such a longing to be and to like sit and reside in my body, and I do feel that really deeply sometimes, and it's really important to me.
I believe you. I really believe
you. Thanks. Okay.
Yeah. So, what does it feel like to be in your body right now?
I feel a little bit it's interesting because like you know, sometimes if I'm nervous or if I have to talk a lot, like my heart beats loudly. I haven't been feeling that. I feel it's still most of it is like in my head or above my head, but it's a little bit slightly a little bit lower than it was.
Can you? What's funny? Will you try something with me?
Yeah.
Can you find a place in your body that feels good, that you can like really feel, like somewhere below your neck?
Uh-huh. I was feeling this, like, part of my thighs
Yeah.
feels good.
What does it feel like? What's the feeling?
It went away. I
Okay.
felt some energy move through it that felt like kind of like smooth and wavy.
Smooth and wavy. Sounds nice.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I'm relating to my body exactly these days, because I used to be much more top down, like I was looking at it, like more like I objectified it. I think I am much less that way now. Yeah. Like I feel it more like from those places.
What do you mean those places?
I feel much more from the places in the body versus like looking at the places in the body.
That's good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, or like it like will like kind of adjust on its own a little bit, you know, it's not as tight. So it just kind of like does its own little thing without like the mind like thinking about it and then doing it. Yeah.
Adjusts on its own and
To be comfortable or like to like stretch or you know, lean or yeah. Things like that.
Thank you, body. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for doing the work.
Like it was more rigid before, I think.
Before in life?
Yeah, in life.
Do you know what you did for that shift to happen?
Probably, I don't know, just the healing stuff. I also had to learn boundaries. Like I only learned boundaries like last year. Like energetic boundaries, like body boundaries.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so I went to ISTA.
Oh, you did ISTA?
Yeah, have you done ISTA?
I have not done ISTA.
It was
Kudos to you.
awful.
Oh.
I got really sick during it. I like ran a fever and I like started throwing up and everything. I just feel like the like I said, I think I just naturally am really open, and so the energetics of the field were very like pressury and like pushy, and I like it was like I didn't want to do things or wasn't comfortable with them, but like I always also felt coerced into it. And so then my body was like reacting by getting sick. And it was really terrible. And afterwards I was really like in a freeze state for like many days. Very rigid. And around the same time, I was interested in contact improv because I wanted more of that like embodied like surrender and just the body doing whatever in relation to someone else. But when I went to contact, like one of the first times, like over a year ago, like I danced with some guy and he kind of was gropey, and I didn't really realize till after that I wasn't actually good with that. And then I was like, it's not safe for me to go to contact. I actually don't really remember how I worked on it. I just somehow did.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, it's not that way, but it happened this past weekend with the party that I had, where I got really overwhelmed and overstimulated at the party, and there was like kind of an energetic hangover for several days after. And it was too much, and I got kind of like angry about like, how did this happen? And yeah. So I guess I'm still figuring it out. Yeah.
Isn't just one thing about contact improv?
Yeah.
Isn't it a non, like the like grabby? It's not
grabby.
It's like you said, it was gropey,
right?
But I thought it was like, in my limited amount of contact improv experience, I always was like, oh, I'm gonna not touch anybody with the actual palms of my hands. I like keep it on the outside of my hands.
Oh, you don't, I mean, there's no rules.
Yeah.
But
okay.
it wasn't like a hard grab. It was just like smooth,
sliding around the body like that.
Sliding, like touching like places that I didn't want to be touched.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Wait, you went to touch and play, right?
I did do touch and play, yeah.
I'm planning on going.
Oh yeah? Where?
In the UK.
The UK one?
Yeah. How was it for you? Touch
and play? Oh. It was rough. It was rough for me.
Why?
Because I have it brought up a lot of wounds and trauma in me as far as like wanting to be accepted, feeling like not good enough, feeling not attractive, feeling all my trauma and wounds and pain around sexuality were present.
Yeah.
And I did connect with some people, and that was nice. And what the big thing that I got out of it was, I for the first time was able to be with this 6-year-old part of me, and really see how this was the beginning of my journey of like worthlessness, that I actually made huge strides on this year, to the point where you were actually there at a retreat that I was at here in LA in September, when that chapter of my worthless thing closed, and I was able to connect fully with that 6-year-old. But that's when the journey started with my 6-year-old, is that touch and play.
Oh wow.
There were incredible things about it. I was proud of myself for doing this thing called Liquid Love, where there's this tarp.
You get oiled up. And
there's this tarp over this huge floor, this huge space, and like 30 people are in there, and we all get completely naked and then put blindfolds on and get covered in hot coconut oil, and then we're like this nice music is playing, and we're being guided by a facilitator to be in this space of exploration, and then you just start sliding in a big pile of naked bodies that you can't see. And
how was that?
It was I was so scared going in. It was incredibly meditative.
Wow, great.
And realized it's like when you are in this pile of all different sizes, shapes of bodies, and you're touching and you can't see, like all your judgment is gone, and you're just feeling, you're like, oh, this just feels like a body.
Yeah. Amazing.
And that was incredible.
Yeah.
So that part was really cool. I did as much exploring as I could, but it was difficult. I learned some stuff. I uncovered some stuff, and I also left feeling like happy I noticed those things, happy I did those things. It was like a really 50-50. Like it was 50% really good, 50% like that was uncomfortable. In a way that I didn't really want.
Yeah.
But that's the edge.
Right.
That's the edge.
And you went because you wanted to.
I wanted to experience that. So I went to the one in Massachusetts, and my feeling is that there's this community around this place called Earth Dance, where it's held in Massachusetts, and so like half the people there are already in this tight knit community. Oh. So that's the feeling of, you can't really get in to that when you're a newbie.
Right.
And you have 5 days and you're just like, some people are able to, but people that have a little more timidness in them when it comes to introvertedness, when it comes to like social situations that especially involve like sexuality, and it's a little harder. I feel like that's probably not as much the case in the other places around the world that do it.
Right.
I'm looking forward to hearing about your experience.
Yeah, it's in July. The theme of it is shadow dance.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm excited about the contact improv-y sort ofness of it, and it seems a little like more free form too. Like you don't have to do everything.
Yeah. You don't.
Yeah, and
by the way, there is strict consent rules.
Okay.
It's total. You do consent practices. It's all about consent. Nobody's forced to do anything they do not want to do.
Yeah.
Totally safe in that realm.
Yeah.
Totally safe in that regards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really interested in like a container for like the edgy sensual stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a tiny poll to do it again, but I don't know. And then I've heard, I know quite a few people now that have done ISTA. And that seems way more intense than what touch and play is.
It's really intense. Yeah.
And that one, I'm like, I don't know if
You don't have to do it.
I could do that.
You don't need to.
I think there's other avenues for my healing in the sexual realm that I can do.
Yeah, like one-on-one, like, you know.
Yeah. Like go on a date.
Yeah. Normal stuff.
Yeah. So, interesting time to pause it, but would you like to move into receiving some energy healing?
Yeah. Do we need to like know what we're doing around it, like intentional wise?
Do we need to know? I mean, we don't need to know.
Do we need to have an intention?
You don't need to have an intention, but
okay.
An intention is welcome.
Okay.
I love intentions. And if you would like to set one, I would very much like you to. I mean, I'd very much be welcome to having you set it.
Yeah. Is it about love? 13th octave Lahochi? Or
is it about love?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily about love as much as love is in there.
Okay.
Lahochi is light movement energy.
Oh, okay.
The movement of light.
Okay.
Energy that's going through your body. But, there's love involved because I incorporate the blue diamond energy, which is Universal Mother, Mary Love.
Wow.
And all the ascended masters that are present that are helping, they all have love in them, and the archangels, they have love in them. So there's a field of love.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, the 3 Bindus I was talking about before, the one at the heart is blue. So it's all the same thing, I guess.
Cool.
Cool. I guess my intention would, maybe like get into my body more. Ground a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Intention set. We will be right back after Sherry's 13th Octave Lahu Chi session. And we are back from Sherry's 13th Octave Lahu Chi session. Before we talk about it, I gotta say, I think that was the smoothest from session back into recording the podcast that I've ever had.
What usually happens?
Lots of things. I can't even tell you, but lots of things. So that was nice.
Okay.
So I'm curious about your experience.
I'm curious about your experience.
Interesting.
Well,
we're at a standoff.
Well, I can talk first, and then you can talk. So, I just felt a lot of energy moving at different times. I didn't really have any stories for it, except one, but mostly it just felt like waves and stuff. And a lot of times when you're naming the Lahu Chi masters, I really felt my feet really grounded, and there's one part toward the beginning where I don't really know what you're doing with your hands because my eyes were closed, but it felt like a spaceship was moving around really slowly in the atmosphere. And like a really sturdy titanium kind of spaceship. And toward the end, it felt like there was this kind of well of light above me that was creating waves down, and I was sort of basking in the glow of it. And the one thing I had a story about was around my heart. I was telling you about the kanna ceremony I did with Nicole over 2 months ago, and that was all about the heart. And there was just a lot of pain and suffering, and I've been feeling kind of pain energetically in my heart for years. And yeah, I felt it here too. I'm kind of just used to it, and I also think maybe some of it has resolved. But my story around it is something about the pain of disconnection and separation, but it feels to me about me, but maybe more existential or spiritual. And that's why it's so deep or something. Yeah.
Sounds like quite a bit was happening.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Curious about the spaceship. Were you feeling it near you, or it was just at a distance above you, or just in the space?
Going up and down my body or something.
Oh wow, scanning?
Yeah. Did you do that?
No.
With your hands?
No.
No.
Oh.
I thought that was happening maybe, and I was just feeling that. No, like at one point, like I felt it near my face, and it was like warmer, and then I thought it like moved down, and
Mm.
yeah.
That was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I was holding
Yeah, you were there.
my hand above your eyes at one point.
Uh-huh.
But that's it. I don't do any scans.
Okay.
That's cool. I like that. And do you remember when the part where it felt like
Light.
the light was coming down?
Like toward the very end.
Before or after I called on the angels of light?
I think before.
Before.
Right
Okay.
before.
Cool. Oh, yeah. That's cool. There's the part that happens right before the angels of light is this opening of the heart space, and then it's a 3-step process. There's an opening of the heart space, and then the second part is I do this motion of really like opening the gates up over it, but while that's happening, sending the brightest light into your heart space.
Oh, okay.
Brightest white light. And then we seal it up afterwards, and then I go into the angels of light. And I was asking about the angels of light because this time when I was experiencing the angels of light doing their work, they were sprinkling. They were just over you, sprinkling love on you.
Uh-huh.
But that was must have been it's a different thing than the light coming down.
Oh. Well, I did feel like the wave, kind of not waves, but like the, you know, when there's a glow of light and there's like kind of, what is it, like shafts, but it was a little more sprinkly shafts. Sprinkly shafts.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
What else was in your experience?
I mean, not much on my experience. I was really tuned in. I felt really good about the energy flowing, and that's about it.
Does it? Do you feel if the energy is flowing in the other person's body, or like if they're receiving it, or are you just feeling?
Sometimes
what's
I
happening
do,
for
and
you?
sometimes I don't.
Uh-huh.
I can't say that I did this time. I do know that there are times when I have doubts about my own ability. Like, it's not a doubt about the energy. Like, I feel energy. It's just sometimes I have doubts about me as a conduit, and I didn't have that feeling today. I don't know what that means, but
Cool.
except for the fact that I was like, oh, it felt really good for me today.
To do it.
To do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
But
does it mean to feel good for you to do it?
it means that I'm not doubting
Uh-huh.
I'm not doubting my physical being or my presence being a hindrance.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting it and thinking that it's a hindrance.
Right.
I am feeling like I'm open and and just like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Are you interested in saying more about your kanna experience? It's okay if you're
Sure.
not.
Yeah. Yeah, it just hit me really hard, and I had a really hard day. I basically also didn't have any stories about what was happening. I just felt so much pain and was just sort of like whimpering all day, kind of like, like, oh, like it was like too much, almost unbearable amount of pain. Um, and I just was being held by Nicole, and Jillian was the guardian. Like physically like being held for most of the day. And I think that was really good for me to like receive that kind of like care and attention. Yeah. Too. Yeah. Yeah, for me, like, there wasn't necessarily a story, but like I said, Nicole felt like it was like maybe all of the suffering, because she related it to a story of herself when she was on a journey once, and she was shown like all the suffering in the world, kind of, the essence of suffering itself, like across space and time, whatever. That's what I was feeling. Um, and and then like the veil of separation between her, Nicole, and the suffering was lifted, and then it was like, oh my God. And I think she felt like that was what was going on for me, and she felt like in her experience afterwards she was like not okay for a long time, but she grew more and more capacity to be able to hold that or integrate that. I feel like this is one of the reasons why I am always kind of on the lookout for what is needed from me, because I think I have like, I don't know, it sounds kind of like grandiose or maybe egotistical. I think I have this like really deep sense of that suffering in my body that may or may not have to do with me, or just me as a microcosm of everyone. And so I'm always sort of like trying to help. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes
Because
sense.
I'm always feeling that in some way. Yeah.
I have this, when you tell me about the experience, I have this, well, what comes up for me, is it okay if I share what comes up for me?
Yeah.
You want to hear about your experience?
Yeah.
Is, especially with tuning into what we've been talking about today, is that it is difficult for you to be in your body when it's uncomfortable, is what we talked about today. And the kanna took the stories away and took the logic away and took the headspace away and just was like, okay, let's spend some time actually being in the body when it's uncomfortable, and allotted you the ability to do that without stories getting in the way. That's what comes up for me when I hear yours. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think that the stories being away may also have had to do with the iboga.
Iboga, you said?
Iboga, because that was 2 weeks before, and
wow.
Yeah, so I thought kanna would be like a nice light, I don't know, integration kind of experience, but it was like its own super huge thing. But what iboga does is take away a lot of your, or look, like has you like look directly at, and then kind of clears some of the conditioning and mental programs you have.
So it's like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, so I think that helped a lot prime for the other experience.
That's cool. Just so everybody is aware, kanna is a heart-opening medicinal plant from Africa. I don't know where iboga's from.
Also Africa.
Iboga is Africa
Whoa.
too. Yeah. And, oh wow, little 1-2 combo.
Africa.
I mean, kanna is everywhere, but it's mostly, I think kanna is everything. I take that back. Anyway, iboga is a much more powerful entheogen than kanna is. And kanna lasts maybe 6-7 hours. And the iboga experience is how long? 36?
36, 12 hours when you're really in it. Confronted, when you're like paralyzed, you're like staring at a screen in your mind basically, and you can't look away. You're like being held to it. Oh, kind of like a Clockwork Orange, you know, when the guy. It felt like that. Yeah.
I have not done iboga.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about the process that iboga uses. Not necessarily your experience, but you say the first 12 hours is looking at a screen in your mind.
Yeah, and then the next 12 hours you can move around, you can talk to people, you can integrate a bit. So that's when I was coming out of the first 12 hours, and I was integrating a lot with some of the other guardians. And then the last 12 hours are restorative. So it's not actually like it's active, but you're not like awake actually. So for a lot of people, you go into deep restorative sleep, but it's but it's working energetically in a restorative way during that 12 hours. I can share a little bit about.
Really?
Yeah, but I think more generally, not the specifics of what it was showing me, because it was very scary at the time. But basically, like it showed me more of like the cultural programs around like patriarchy, and particularly Chinese patriarchy and gender roles and shame, and like there are a few, like maybe like 4 different interrelated sort of programs that were keeping me really stuck in these like categories of ways of being that I thought I had to be in. Like woman means I have to act in a certain way. I'm like not as good as men. My only job is to like serve men, and I don't get to like make it about me because I'm in this subordinate role. I'm a second-class citizen. Like things sort of along those lines, which I actually have been fighting all my life, and I never would have said I believe those things, because I felt like I actively disbelieved those things, but they were still running the show. And it was a little bit like I was still really angry about like, why was I born into this, like this body in this culture, like the Chinese culture, because I was born there, where I don't have any power, I don't get to make it about me, I don't, I'm not important. It's all about everyone else. Yeah. So it's interesting. It's like I both like have gifts of being able to be really attuned to what's going on, and I'm really trying to make it about me in some way, so I can like spread out more and be bigger too.
When you say it's about everybody else in the Chinese culture that you're talking about, it's not about other women though, right?
No.
It's about, like you
men.
say, about other men.
It's about men.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just you out of all Chinese culture that's being singled out. It's like women.
Yeah. And the shame part is sort of like, oh, there's something wrong with me for thinking I want more, or like I am important, because I'm not.
Yeah. Wait.
Like,
say that one more time.
There's something, the shame part.
Oh, this is part of the culture.
Yeah. Like, because like I've been told I'm not supposed to be important. I'm not supposed to matter like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely see why it's difficult. For you to make it about you.
Yeah. My other story about it is that, there's like certain ages when you're a kid when things are supposed to develop. And I think at the age when kids are supposed to develop a healthy sense of self, where they're kind of affirmed for like their budding sense of self, like that just didn't happen at all. So I don't have that as sort of like a ground to go back to. So yeah, a lot of times I also look to other people to relate with because I find myself in other people. Like right before the session, I forgot what we were talking about. But as we like made it about you and you were sharing something, I all of a sudden I felt so much more grounded just listening to you than talking, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in like I like found more myself grounded in you.
Because that's what you're used to doing.
Yeah. Because it's like not as secure in here, than like I relate to you. I find myself there. Yeah.
How has it been feeling so far in the second half, talking about you? And
it seems like it's happening a little flowier, a little easier. I feel like I'm a little less like tight in how I'm speaking, and I still feel really open at the top though, but it's like very light. Or bright. It's very bright.
What do you mean?
Everything looks really bright.
In this, actually, literally in the space?
Yeah.
Oh.
It feels really bright and clear. Angels?
Maybe. I don't know. What does it feel like to you? What is it? Does it?
Yeah, just it feels like when you like are like contracted and then you like get kind of uncontracted and you're like, whoa, I can see better. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like a fun experience. I don't know, maybe it's not.
Do you know?
Do I know about
that?
being contracted and come out and everything's...
Yeah.
I know that when I come out of a contraction, I don't know if I haven't noticed an actual physical difference in light.
Yeah.
But I definitely do. I feel a sense physically of more space and ability to hold and to connect and all that jazz. But I can't say that I've ever had the light experience.
Yeah. It feels something like you have more peripheral vision around all like your whole body, like even in the back.
Sweet.
Like where you can't see it. Yeah.
And that makes you feel. And does that assist you in feeling more grounded then?
No, I think it's just well, I can't tell. I don't know. Right now, both are happening, but I don't know if it's always that way. Yeah.
Oh. Is there... Ever since, I don't know if you saw this episode, but the episode I did with Skylar about grounding and joy, I am like really tuned into when I'm feeling expansive and trying to integrate it more into my body so that I'm grounded more into it. And it's coming up everywhere.
Great.
So I'm wondering now if there's something that you can do to integrate it, what's happening right now, into your system, like whether it's breath work or feeling where it is in your system, it actually is, where the space is, and just connecting with that space more. I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of like feeling around right now. Because I don't know necessarily how to ground in my joy. I'm learning it.
Okay, so you're supposed to do it in your own body? Okay.
Yeah, this is your experience.
When I was talking about it a minute ago, I was like, oh man, I want to like go outside and like be in the sunshine and the grass or something. But then like, that's not
Why not?
grounding. I mean, in my body.
Why not?
I mean, I guess it can be. Yeah.
Grounding your body into the earth.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty grounding to me. I think that like that. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Like that's what I went through my system when you said that.
Yeah. That feels like the level of expansiveness, right? Versus like, I don't want, like, it's like, oh, I don't want to be like inside now, because it's like smaller.
Oh wow. Oh.
Yeah.
That's fun. Pardon me. Holy cow. That's fun. I love that that's what's coming up for you. That you're like, I'm now too big for this room.
Yeah.
Does that feel good?
Yeah.
Too big for the room?
Kind of. Do you ever get it for you, 13 octave Lahuchi?
I have not.
No? Never?
Mm-mm.
Can you do it to yourself?
I've done it to myself, but I haven't gotten it from somebody else.
Is it good even if you do it to yourself?
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's different if I get it from somebody else than for me.
Right.
One is I don't do all the hand positions when I do it to myself. And yeah, when I'm getting done to me, I don't have to do anything. You just lie there and relax and breathe. Someday I will.
Yeah. I don't know anyone else who does it.
I know one person.
Should ask them.
She's the one that
taught it?
attuned me.
Cool.
Yeah. Like one person, actually no one person. I know that other people do it because I've seen it online and other people have learned it, obviously. But
yeah.
As far as actually knowing someone.
Right.
I'm enjoying this space. I've never done iboga either.
Do you want to?
I have never felt I've never felt the call loud enough that was like, oh, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
I've been intrigued and I'm curious, but I've never felt the call loud enough.
Yeah. That's so intense.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was, it's true. It was like the worst night of my life. And then afterwards, I was like, I thought it must have been that way for everyone else, but other people had good experiences. And I was so surprised. And also, they've said in subsequent times, you kind of have more of a relationship with the medicine or the character of iboga. And so you can kind of, you're not like only like at his will, which is how I felt.
Oh wow, it's more of a, like what, there's more of a conversation going on?
Yeah. So I think.
Do you think that you'll do it again?
It's kind of unlikely. Now it's on the record. I decided after iboga and kanna, like all this period, it felt like plant medicine isn't really for me, actually. And like the sense I got from it was that, well, whatever, not just from that, but just the sense I've been getting is more that I need to like trust myself and not look for the answers in something else, including a plant medicine, to be like, you are some kind of mysterious all-knowing other that can tell me the answers. It's like, actually I know, and I don't need to outsource it. So that's one of the main things. And the other thing is, like I said, I've been really into this non-dual tantra stuff, and I'm like super in love with the teachings philosophically, and practically. Like, I really like the practices, and they're much gentler, because they're like everyday practices, but they can build up to be really, really powerful too, and that feels more right for me.
So you're finding your medicine in
Yeah,
tantra.
yeah. So it's still the same kind of like potential, but it's more like on my terms or something. Yeah. Which I guess is what I'm trying to do overall.
Yeah. That's why you quit your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad you're staying on theme.
Yeah.
What are some of the practices?
Ooh. Okay, awesome. Thank you for asking. So one I mentioned before was the 3 bindus, the head, the heart, and the pelvic floor. And they all have different light colors, like red, blue, and white. And you go one at a time and you imagine them expanding. And you also can install a goddess in each bindu, and you imagine them expanding to the point where you're sitting inside the heart or the pelvis or whatever, or the head of that goddess, and so it's super big, and then you're just like kind of sitting in that energy field, and then you move through the 3 bindus and then feel all of them simultaneously through the central channel. Okay, sorry, I just remembered toward the end of the session just now too, I felt my central channel more strongly than I've ever felt before. And it was like pretty like thick. It wasn't like a little like flimsy thing. It was like I was like, wow, cool. Yeah. That's cool. So like I was saying before, my upper one at the head can expand out quite easily, and the other ones not as well. So that's one I've been working with a lot, and then I've also been working with like circulating the energy from the head to the other centers to kind of spread them out more.
How do you do that?
I'm not that good at it, but like just imagining kind of a circuit going from the head center, for example, into like the pelvic floor. There was one night when I was practicing it in bed, like before going to sleep.
Is it...
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, but...
Yeah.
Is it just a visualization of energy movement, or is it breath work? Because I know of a microcosmic orbit breathwork technique that moves things here and then up the spine and then...
I think it's that. I just don't know that term. But
Got it.
Maybe if I knew that better, I would be more successful.
Maybe.
But, okay. So you're doing
I like
it
the
with
visualization there too.
No, what I was going to say is one night when I was going to sleep, I was doing it, and like I think it went into my pelvic area, and I felt this like intense like orgasmic bliss all over my body, and I was like, great.
It sounds like
Yeah.
I mean, that works.
Yeah, but not
you.
all the time. Like but okay, so that's one. Another one is abiding in like the base of your heart, like the center, in like a still point. Abiding in like a still point in the base of your heart, as the ground of being. And so maybe in other meditation traditions, it's like about like noticing your thoughts and they're passing and whatever. In this one, it's like, no, forget about it. Forget about your thoughts. It doesn't, don't even watch them or, think about looking at them or whatever. Just abide at the point at the heart. And yeah, and that's it. And a similar one is kind of being in that place and just noticing that everything is okay in like a timeless way, you know what I mean? Like everything's okay right now and there's only now. Yeah.
These sound great.
Yeah.
You do them every day?
Yeah, I don't do all of them every day, but
for how long? I mean, for how long have you been doing them?
Oh.
And for how long each day?
I've been doing 25 minutes a day. Honestly, I've only been doing them since I went on this retreat, but I've been also, which is like 2 weeks ago. But I also used to work with Skylar, and she does kind of similar things, but I never really learned them in this way. And so the ones I learned at the retreat and in these books that I'm reading are like kind of really distilled practices, and there's just kind of a handful, and they're like, just do these, and they really work. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh. That's gonna be good for you and your body, I think.
Yeah, that's why I also started being interested in them, because of the body stuff. Yeah.
Do you quick move back to the Lao Chi session? Did your intention get met in any way?
Yeah, grounding. I did. It did. Like I said, at different points, I really felt the energy going into my hands and my feet, which felt grounding. But then the like kind of pain and prickliness at the heart, I was like, oh yeah, this is still here, and maybe that could have had an intention too. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, feels like a nice little place to wrap it up. But I do like to always leave one last little space if anything else feels like it wants to come out.
No, I'm good.
Great.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed this little journey that we went on from the beginning from the beginning of us both. We were talking about beforehand, just like we really were in the space of what's going to come out. And I felt like we really went on a nice arc of a journey, and it was fun.
Yay, good.
It was
Fun.
So thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing.
Is that going to be the title?
Sharing?
Yeah.
Maybe. You want it to be the title? No?
No.
It won't be the title. Yeah, but thanks for sharing your space and your time and your what's going on with you with me.
Thank you.
I had a good time.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for the session.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
And to all of you out there, I invite you to make a little room for healing in your lives, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for making a little room for my podcast. I'd love to be a part of your journey too. Follow me on Instagram at A Little Room for Healing for news, updates, offerings, and connection. To book a session with me, go to www.alittleroomforhealing.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, follow the link at the bottom of the episode description. Have a beautiful day.